Tua sebagai kawasan cagar budaya. Ini visi. Yang memiliki nilai ekonomis tinggi sebagai kawasan wisata, bisnis, jasa, perdagangan dengan menetap mempertahankan karakter dan nilai cagar budaya dan kesejarahan kawasan. Sedangkan misi meningkatkan peran sebagai kawasan wisata cagar budaya, melakukan revitalisasi di segala aspek, meningkatkan kualitas fisik dan visual kawasan, mempertahankan aktivitas yang telah ada, mengembalikan dan meningkatkan kawasan tempat bermukim, meningkatkan kesejahteraan masyarakat, dan mengembangkan kerjasama dengan antar masyarakat. Itulah kira-kira visi-misi.
Ya, Pak Deddy, saya translate dulu ya. Okay. The vision of this Kota Tua is cultural conservation which has the economic value as tourism, business, and trade, with maintain the character and values of cultural conservation to help the as a character and value as a cultural conservation. And the mission is to increase the role of cultural conservation to revitalize the different aspect of Kota Tua, whether this economic, social, and trade and business, to increase the quality of basic and visual, the landscape, to maintain the activities that is already there, to be able to increase the landscape as a residence, and to develop the community welfare, and to develop the cooperation between all the people who involved in Kota Tua. Thank you. Silakan lanjutkan Pak Didi.
Banyak. Ya. Kawasan Kota Tua ini berada di 3 wilayah kecamatan, meliputi Kecamatan Penjaringan, Kecamatan Tambora, dan Kecamatan Taman Sari, di mana luas area keseluruhan 34 hektar yang terbagi atas area tembok kota dan di luar tembok. Di dalam kota terfokus 34 hektar dan zona penunjang. Sedangkan di luar itu area kampung luar, area pekojan dan area pecinan yang memiliki ciri khas tersendiri. Silakan, mungkin ditranslate.
Okay. The Kota Tua consists of several different regions. There are 3 districts, that is Penjaringan, Tambora, and Taman Sari. And the color that we are here, the green one is the core of Kota Tua, and the dark green is the core in Kota Tua, and the light green is the support of the zone. And the pink one that we are seeing here is the outside of Kota Tua. So there are 3 different regions in the outside of Kota Tua. Oke, silakan Pak.
Kemudian sejarah singkat kawasan Kota Tua ini dimulai dari beberapa periodisasi. Pertama di era klasik kerajaan kuno. Mulai tahun 1527, Pelabuhan Sunda Kelapa sebagai pelabuhan raya kerajaan Pajajaran. Ini di awalnya. Kemudian 1502 melakukan perjanjian kesepakatan membangun loji koloni dengan kerajaan Sunda di area Pelabuhan Sunda Kelapa. pada periode 1527, mulai dari 22 sampai ke 27. Kemudian itu di era kerajaan kuno itu puncak pengusiran Portugis dan perebutan kota oleh pasukan kerajaan Demak Cirebon dipimpin oleh Fathahilah, dan pembangunan kota bernama Jayakarta di sekitar wilayah yang berhasil ditaklukkan. Inilah yang sering dikenal pada 1527 itu peringatan ulang tahun kota Jakarta. Kemudian masuk pada era kolonial, pemerintahan kolonial VOC, perusahaan dagang. Itu antara 1619 sampai 1620. Itu adalah puncak serangan perebutan kota dan pembumihangusan kota Jayakarta di bawah pimpinan oleh Jan Pieter John Spoor. Kemudian dibangun kota baru koloni kongsi PSOE dengan nama Batavia. Pada 1650, perampungan kota Batavia sesuai dengan konsep rancang kota itu yang ideal dibuat oleh Simon Stevens. Selanjutnya, di era kolonial pemerintahan Hindia Belanda, pada 1800, ini terjadi penurunan kualitas kota dari berbagai aspek. Kemudian pembongkaran besar-besaran ke tembok Batavia, dan pemindahan pusat administrasi koloni ke area yang dinamakan Weltervreden. Saat ini kalau dikenal itu di sekitaran lingkar Monas, sebagian wilayah besar Jakarta Pusat. Jadi terjadi pemindahan kota dari kota tua ini ke daerah sekitaran Monas. Selanjutnya di era pemerintahan kolonial Jepang pada tahun 1940-an, di mana pergantian nama Batavia menjadi Jakarta oleh pemerintah pendudukan Jepang. Ini kondisi secara singkat riwayat daripada kota tua itu sendiri. Silakan diterjemahkan.
Okay, so basically this one is the history of Kota Tua. There are 4 periodic era before the ancient one, the colonial, and then the Netherlands. After that, the colonial with Japan. So this is the year. It is before 1527 until 1942. Ya.
Oke, lanjut.
Ya, Pak.
Oke. Ini layout ya di kawasan kota tua, lanjut.
This is the landscape.
Ya, lanjut. Sejarah revitalisasi kawasan kota tua itu dimulai pada tahun 1905, di mana pembentukan Dewan Kota Praja Batavia untuk perencanaan revitalisasi saat pertama kota Batavia. Ini adalah inisiatif pemerintah Hindia Belanda dengan pembentukan lembaga untuk menghidupkan kembali kota Batavia yang sudah ditinggalkan. Selanjutnya, periode 1912 sampai 1929, pelaksanaan revitalisasi pertama kota Batavia oleh Dewan Kota Praja Batavia. Ini merupakan pembangunan gedung-gedung dan infrastruktur di kawasan kota Batavia seluas 105 hektar. Selanjutnya, 1950 sampai 1962, pelaksanaan revitalisasi oleh pemerintah Republik Indonesia Serikat pada masa inisiatif Presiden Soekarno, Presiden pertama. Itu adalah pembangunan 2 bangunan gedung bank terbesar, BNI dan Bank of China, yang dilakukan revitalisasi. Selanjutnya pada tahun 1971 dan sampai 73, pelaksanaan revitalisasi yang ketiga oleh pemerintah Provinsi DKI Jakarta pada saat Gubernur Ali Sadikin, dalam bentuk beautifikasi dan pemberian fungsi baru kawasan kota tua, seperti area Taman Fathahilah dan Kali Besar, revitalisasi bangunan-bangunan sebagai museum provinsi. Itu yang masa revitalisasi yang ketiga. Tahun 2006 sampai sekarang dikenal sebagai pelaksanaan revitalisasi yang tempat oleh pemerintah provinsi di DKI Jakarta. Mulai di masa Gubernur Sutioso, dilanjutkan oleh Gubernur Joko Widodo, kemudian saat ini oleh Gubernur Anies Baswedan. Itu dilakukan pedestrianisasi area Fathahillah, area Kali Besar, kemudian penataan infrastruktur dan tata ruang, kemudian kawasan kota sesuai dengan rencana induk. Nah, ini yang dilakukan saat ini sampai sekarang. Akan translate. Oh, translate. Ya.
Okay, so this is the revitalization that has already been done in Kota Tua. In 1905, it was created an institution to revive the urban area of Batavia, and then in 1912 until 1929, there was construction of buildings and infrastructure, and then in 1950 until 1962, the construction of the two largest banks in Indonesia, namely BNI and Bank of China, and then 1971 and until 1973, granting the new function and revitalizing the building as a provincial museum. In 2006 until now, there are pedestrians in several areas, and then the last in 2014 until now, it is infrastructure arrangement in Kota Tua. This next, Pak Dedi.
Ya, lanjut. Ya, inilah revitalisasi pertama, lanjut. Revitalisasi yang kedua, lanjut. Ini revitalisasi yang ketiga, lanjut. Ini yang dilakukan 4 sampai dengan sekarang. Selanjutnya, rencana penataan kawasan Kota Tua untuk tahun 2020 sampai 2034 ada beberapa item yang menjadi fokus. Pertama, penataan sistem lalu lintas. Kedua, penyiapan infrastruktur, ini secara umum. Penataan ruang publik, mulai dari gerbang kawasan, area kolong ruang publik lainnya. Kemudian penataan drainase, air. 5, penataan kawasan sisi tepi sungai. 6, pendataan aset dan informasi bangunan cagar budaya. 7, revitalisasi kawasan dan bangunan cagar budaya termasuk kategori cagar budaya. 8, penataan zona pengembangan baru. 9, penataan pedagang. 10, kampung hunian prioritas. 11, kelembagaan Kota Tua itu sendiri. 12, annual event dan aktivasi kegiatan pendukung dalam kawasan. Dan berikutnya adalah sosialisasi kepada seluruh stakeholder. Itulah kira-kira rencana penataan sampai pada tahun 2034. Selanjutnya, silakan ditranslate.
Wait a minute. I have. Maybe we can let Pak Dedi present all of those things, and then we are going to translate for you. So it will not bother because it's English, Indonesia, and Indonesia will be confusing. So I think it's better if Pak Dedi translate present all, and then we are going to translate later. How about that? Is that okay for you students? Okay. And then we will have questions.
Iya, 9 juta.
Oke, Pak Dedi. Pak Dedi mungkin bisa presentasi semuanya dulu, baru kemudian nanti kita akan balik lagi ke slide-nya, kemudian kita akan presentasi. Kita akan translate.
Ya, lanjut. Nah, ini data pengunjung di Kota Tua yang masuk ke kawasan mulai 2017, 18, 19, 17, 18, kisaran 8 sampai 9 juta. Kemudian di 19 ini hampir 6 juta, ada penurunan karena peningkatan dulu pas ada acara di Asian Games. Lanjut. Itulah data tentang kondisi wisatawan baik Nusantara maupun mancanegara. Lanjut. Dampak situasi pandemik terhadap kawasan Kota Tua. Kita pada bulan Maret tanggal 14 ada penutupan di area Kota Tua akibat pandemi. Dan sebagian pembatasan jumlah pengunjung ini mulai dilakukan setelah pada 8 Juni. Tentunya terjadi penurunan wisatawan yang cukup drastis akibat penutupan tersebut. Saat ini sedang dilakukan masa transisi, hanya dibuka untuk restoran, museum, dan untuk kegiatan-kegiatan perhotelan. Sedangkan untuk kawasan taman masih ditutup. Lanjut. Kita lanjut. Permasalahan yang ada di Kota Tua, seperti di negara-negara lain ataupun ada, pastinya permasalahan yang pertama terkait dengan macetan dan parkir liar, itu yang ada di Kota Tua. Sampai saat ini masih terus dilakukan penataan dan pembenahan, di mana lokasi-lokasi parkir itu sudah disiapkan. Namun kesadaran masyarakat lah yang masih terus perlu ditingkatkan supaya mereka memarkirkan kendaraan di lokasi yang disiapkan seperti di Kota Intan, di Pancoran, dan di eksterminal yang sudah kita siapkan. Sementara demikian juga PKL. Para pedagang masih banyak menempati sebagian di lokasi yang bukan semestinya. Namun dari Pemda telah memberikan beberapa solusi penempatan seperti di lokasi Kota Intan dan di Hutan Niaga dan Kertaniaga. Kemudian terkait dengan polusi udara, memang kita tahu di sini arus lalu lintas juga cukup tinggi. Namun dalam hal ini dari Pemda sendiri pada tahun ini telah akan menetapkan no emission zona, di mana area-area di kawasan Kota Tua ini dilakukan pembatasan kendaraan-kendaraan pribadi dialihkan melalui jalan lain dan tidak melintas di area Kota Tua. Kemudian akan diperbanyak penghijauan di sebagian tempat atau wilayah. Berikutnya permasalahan yang juga terkait dengan kelembagaan. Kelembagaan ini masih terus dilakukan pengkajian. Kita terus mengusulkan perlu ada perubahan struktur dan kewenangan. Di mana selama ini kewenangan dalam penataan Kota Tua sebagian masih ditangani oleh unit-unit atau SKPD yang lain. Sedangkan penataan ini perlu dilakukan integrasi. Tentunya kelembagaan ini perlu dilakukan peningkatan kewenangan dan struktur yang ada, sehingga Kota Tua itu bisa dilakukan secara umum yang ada di Kota Tua. Kegiatan Kota Tua, terus kita akan festival Tempo dulu, pembinaan karakter komunitas ada di Kota Tua, kemudian kuliner zaman dulu yang ada di Kota Tua, pengembangan destinasi wisata berdasarkan karakteristik kawasan. Di sini ada 3 kawasan, kawasan Pecinan, kawasan Pokojan, dan kawasan pesisir daerah Sunda Kelapa. Terkait dengan promosi yang dilakukan di Kota Tua, tentunya dilakukan oleh pemerintah daerah melalui media sosial yang ada, alat-alat promosi lainnya. Itu yang sudah dipersiapkan, baik dilakukan oleh Kota Tua maupun oleh Dinas Parekraf itu sendiri. Jadi intinya, kesimpulannya bahwa Kota Tua merupakan salah satu destinasi unggulan yang ada di Jakarta. Karena untuk menjangkaunya itu lebih mudah, lintas kendaraan, baik itu melalui kereta, melalui Transjakarta, melalui kendaraan lain, itu sangat-sangat gampang dicapai dan biaya murah. Sedangkan memasuki kawasan itu sendiri tidak dipungut biaya kalau kawasan, kecuali masuk ke museum. Jadi masyarakat sangat antusias khususnya dari wisatawan Nusantara. Demikian juga dari wisatawan mancanegara secara rutin juga datang di Kota Tua. Rasa itu yang bisa kita sampaikan. Sekian, terima kasih.
Okay. I said before that I'm going to translate, but it seems like we don't have much time, and the PowerPoint in English will be shared in band. So maybe we now write to the question and answer. If there are any questions from you all to elaborate this presentation, maybe you can start now. If you are going to talk in English, we are going to translate it for Pak Dedi and team. Please. Maybe can we share a presentation in the chat, Sylvia and Aline, so everyone who are able to speak Bahasa will skim again. Okay, please. If you have any questions about yesterday, maybe you have you learned about the interviewing. So maybe some of the questions that you learned yesterday, maybe you can ask to Pak Dedi about this Kota Tua.
Maybe can I start?
Okay, Tula.
Basically, I like to know how COVID-19 affect Kota Tua. Can you ask him? I mean,
okay,
he can let us know a little bit. I mean, I really want to know how it actually affect Kota Tua at the moment.
Okay. Pak Dedi, ada pertanyaan bagaimana efek pandemi terhadap Kota Tua dan bagaimana Kota Tua ini bagaimana pandemi ini berpengaruh di Kota Tua. Mungkin ada dari tim yang juga bersama dengan Pak Dedi bisa menjelaskan ini. Pak Ilyas mungkin.
Ilyas.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Ilyas from the Old Batavia Management. About the pandemic effect in the Kota Tua area, we have a big effect here because we know that the area of the Batavia, it's an open area, so many people can visit to our area. I mean our Kota Tua area like this. So we still closed. Start from February maybe, after government announced that all tourism places have to close. So we choose to close to follow the government regulation. But now, not at all closed, only the Fathahillah Square only, that's still closed, but like a museum and then restaurant, hotels, it's open, but still doing the COVID protocols. I think it's enough. Any question?
I see. Okay, thank you. Maybe another one? I mean, very curious. During the closing time of the Kota Tua, have the management team or the development team, I mean, develop something like new product or new thing during this time to like keep the Kota tour running,
So,
or it's fully closed?
For the museum management, they have new innovation like virtual tour like this, but we also try to do it. So because we have a big area, 334 hectares. So we still promote not only the main area like Fathahillah Square, but we have developed a new area like Pecinan, Pekojan, and Pesisir like this. So we want to spare the tourists that visit to Kota Tua area not only in the Fathahillah Square with the tree museum like this, but we also promote the other area like Pecinan, Pekojan, and Pesisir with the special thing there, like the Pecinan with the Chinese ethnic, and then Pekojan with the Muslim ethnic, and the Pesisir it is with the combination like Betawi and Portuguese like this, because in the Pesisir area there is our living monument. I mean, because there is still traditional ship or maybe harbor.
Thank you. So,
but in this moment when the government make still develop to make something new here. I mean, they wanna improve our infrastructure and other like this. So because pandemic, so there is small tourists to visit to Kota Tua. So the government wanna make or wanna rebuild like the pedestrian and other like this. Any question? More?
Okay, maybe any questions from students, maybe?
yes, the student, please. You have a long list of questions.
May I ask questions?
Okay, Octaviano.
Okay. Good morning. My question is how to make sure that visitors satisfied with the museum service. I mean, has Kota Tua ever conduct the research about the satisfaction of the visitor?
So we have a Pakta Integritas, as you know. In the government have a regulation, and there is a Pakta Integritas. In the Pakta Integritas, there is announced that every tourism sector, they follow the government regulation. Like they have to make the physical distancing, and then 50% visitor and the officer there, and then carrying capacity of the visitor like this, and then they have to use a mask and then wash their hand before they enter the museum like this. So before the visitor enter to the area Kota Tua area and the museum area, we wanna check the body temperature first. So to make the visitor believe with the museum and the Kota Tua area, we have a Pakta Integritas. So I want to show you the Pakta Integritas, but in Indonesian language like this.
Okay.
So not only museum, but restaurant, hotel, and any tourism sector, they have to make it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ilyas.
Okay, you're welcome.
Hello. Can I ask a question?
Okay. Who's talking?
Tang Yikwan. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So I will proceed my questions to Mr.
Other question?
Like just now you mentioned that during the pandemics, right? Okay, in a normal situation, normal, biasa, normal situation, may I know what is the highest expenses of the administration of the museum? Like you
The
spend how many the most money you spend on which sector in running a museum?
It's mean our income when the visitor come to Kota Tua, or
The amount of money to
run the museum.
to run the museum.
oh,
Budget research for museum, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have a market business like this, because we are manage the big area, and we just account the manual with the checker. We have a five enter gate, right? And seven enter gate, but we still research about we want to make only 2 get enter like this. So it is a different management with the museum like this. So we don't have income too, because so many people who come to Kota Tua area, they don't need to pay. It is free like this.
Yeah. So
Contribution there. Here, I mean.
So how about the expenses? Like just now you say is income, right?
About the expenses for manage this Kota Tua area, we have government finance like this. So every year we have funds to manage expenses, money expenses to like weekend at Kota Tua, and then other like
It's
but I think the expenses now it's less than before, because all our activities it's cancelled. So we cannot make any activity like outdoor activities like this. So we just have normal activities like maintenance activities, like to clean the Kota Tua area, and then to prepare for the shop and water to handles like this only. Because we are different management with the museum. We are in the outside Kota Tua area like this.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so the budget is from the government, and the expenses is already divided into several fixed budgets. So it seems like they don't have any other, I think, budget for development and research. It's what I think. This is only routine budget, routine expenses.
Yeah, routine expenses only for the maintenance, like clean the Kota Tua area, and then like this only, because we don't have other activities like before. We have a weekend at Kota Tua, and then pengembangan destinasi like this, event. So the government use the expenses for COVID. So any activities is cancelled like this.
Okay. Juan, do you have any other questions?
I will ask a question. If the administrations of the museum is given a chance to get a technology to run the museum, may I know what kind of technology that the administration will likely to have?
Okay, okay.
Boleh faham kan?
Paham, paham. I think that's very good questions. glad you asked that. Okay, Pak Ilya. If the administration given technology, what kind of technology that you need?
Yeah, maybe like AI or big data, everything that technology can do. Maybe we can try to think from that view.
Okay.
Jadi ini maksudnya gimana Bu tentang
kalau mereka
ada inovasi kayak gitu?
Enggak, jadi kalau mereka ini kan akan mengembangkan sebuah produk. Kalau produk itu adalah produknya teknologi, Bapak sebagai pengelola butuh teknologi apa gitu yang mereka kembangkan.
So I think because we have a big area, so it is so very difficult for us to account how many visitors that enter our area like this. So if you have a product innovation, I think the first thing, because the Minister of Tourism always asks to us about how many tourists that visit the Kota Tua area. So we think if you ask about the product innovation, I think we need something that can account without a gate like this. So like infrared maybe, but they can account how many people that enter to our area, because it is a very big area, right? With the 7 gate, but we still continue to research about if we only made the 2 enter gate, it's worth or not like this. So I think that the product
Okay.
Because still until now we still account the visitor with the manual checker.
Manual checker through ticket or through ticket?
No, because we are free.
So people will enter the gate and you count the people.
Yeah, count the people with the checker.
Oh, with the
manual checker.
Manual checker. Okay, that will be hard.
Yeah, it's so hard for us.
Considering the big
it's so very different when we manage a museum, right? Because museum is a building. It have maybe 1 gate and get in and 1 get out. But we have a 7 gate.
Okay, 7 big plaza, yeah.
Yeah, big plaza. So yeah, it is so very difficult for us to count. But maybe if the Kota Tua area rebuilt with the new big one, so we still expand the area like a Kali Besar, and then we want to build the plaza in front of Beos station. So because we have an area 334 hectares with the regulation, not the gate, not the gate. So it is so very different with the Monas, right? Monas have a big area, but there is a fence like this, but we don't have our fence only with the regulation government.
Okay. I will following up the Kwan's question. Other than counting the visitors, any other technology that you need for the administration to deal with?
Until we are, because we are open area, right? So everyone don't need to pay for enter this area, only for museum and restaurant and other like this. But after 30 and 334 hectares is built, maybe there is a entrance fee maybe.
Okay, thank you, Pak Ilyas. We still have 10 minutes to go. Is there any other questions? You want to ask? Yes, going to ask. Okay, Andy.
Yeah.
Okay. Please.
Hello, Pak Ilyas. I am Andi. I want to ask is, we know that Kota Tua have several museums in the area. So my question is, do you have enough manpower or staff? And what is your routine to manage and maintain the museum? You got it?
So, finally, I want to tell to you about the management museum and the Kota Tua area. We are in the different departments under the government, Jakarta government, because Kota Tua in the under of tourism and economic creative department, and then museum in the under of culture department, in the culture department. So we are different, but before this year, 2009, we are same in the under of culture and tourism department. So we know about their management. About the museum, I think the best museum is a historical museum. It have a good officer there, and then the good management. But as you know, in the Kota Tua area, it's not only a 3 museum. We have 6 museums. The first is historical museum. The second is fine art and ceramics. The third is a puppet museum. Number 4 is Bank Indonesia Museum, and then Bank Mandiri Museum, and then the 6th is a Maritime Museum in the Sunda Kelapa area. So only 4 in the under of Jakarta government: historical, fine art and ceramics, and then puppet and maritime museum. But under there is a Bank Indonesia Museum and then Mandiri Museum. But I think the best museum that have best management and then best it's between historical museum and Bank Indonesia Museum. But I think we still have to, it's like a Kota Tua, we still have to build our officer because it's just few can speak other language. I think like this. So it is the big problem, I think, maybe because we still confused when they need someone who can speak other language like this,
maybe developing technology for the officers to be able to speak learn English.
I think we still improve our English language every day. But I think if you wanna know about the best management, I think you can visit the Bank Indonesia Museum. It have best technology there.
Okay. I've been there to all the museum and I like it. I visit several times in historical museum. Okay, Andi?
Yeah, historical. It have a different collection.
Okay. Andi, do you have any questions?
Yeah. You say that Kota Tua under into different department. That is the tourism department and culture department. So how you synchronize the duty to one department to others?
How to synchronize if
to
you are
synchronize, yeah, we are work here under the government regulation, so we follow the government regulation, and then to synchronize, yeah, we always make some it's like when we have event in the Fathahillah Square, we always make a meeting with so many stakeholders here. Any activities, not only event. So we always ask them to meeting together. To it is right thing or bad thing to untuk dilaksanakan apa sih? To do it in the Fathahillah Square, I mean like this. So we still communicate with them about any activities. Because here so many stakeholders. The historical building here not only it have by the Jakarta government, but only apa? Personal persons. So the historical building here, we have 181 building, but it's all not under Jakarta government. So yeah, only so it have by personal and then private like this. So yeah, we follow the regulation about it. So it is so very difficult for us to build the Kota Tua.
Okay, then you maybe all can think of what can we help to them for be able to be easier in coordinating the works, I think. Okay, we have more 3 minutes, 3 other minutes, and Octaviano will ask, do you want to ask one question?
Yes,
okay.
Please. Okay, I am interested and I do agree with Tang Yi Kwan, but on the others technology. Now focus on the museum. Imagine if the tour guide is being busy, of course the visitors go around into the museum, right? There is a lot of information in the collection that visitors do not understand. I'm interested, we are from group 7, probably interested to create a tool that sticks near the collection, and when the visitor presses the button, the tool will make a sound and tell the history of the collection. What about that? What about our idea, Mr. Ilyas?
About the so you mean when there is a visitor that don't get the guide, right? When
yes,
they visit the Kota Tua area or the museum, they can press the button and they can get the information from this machine, right?
Yes,
like this.
Right.
So I think in the Bank Indonesia Museum there is a announce when you passing this area or you stand in the footprint there, they will give information about it to you. So I think if you wanna make something new, I think you can make application like this that can it's like you made maybe three trip or 4 trip when they go around in the Kota Tua area. They can follow the application like this when the way that they have to use to go to this place and other place, and when they stand in front of building, they want to get the information about this building like this. I think it's more better than your opinion before.
Oh, so did you mean maybe the idea we are create some navigation location into Kota Tua region.
Yeah, Kota Tua area. So because when they visit the museum with or without guide, they will get so many information. The different thing only they want sounds or they just can read, right? Like this. But when they go around in the outside, I mean the Kota Tua area with the 334 hectares, it's so very difficult for them to find something information.
Okay.
Like when they visit when they visit the Toko Merah building and then Kota Intan, there is no guide. So it's so very difficult for them to find the information. I think if you make with the outside area, it's more better. But if you make like a machine outside, it's so
amazing idea.
Yeah, it is so. But application is better, I think, with the application, so they can follow the application. Like they have to take this way, and you will find so many building. And then when they stand in front of building, they can press the button in the application. They will get so many information.
Okay.
Like the historical of building, and then about the entrance, maybe if there is a. So the museum can insight in this application too, the information about the museum.
Okay, Pak Ilyas, there are more two students who will ask question. One Muhammad Akid and Samuel Abimbola. Okay, first, maybe one Muhammad Akid, please.
Hi, Mr. Ilyas. May I ask some question? Since we don't even know when this pandemic are going to completely disappear from this community, do you guys have any further plan for the upcoming month to have like virtual exhibition or using some technology to make sure more people can access to the information from the Museum Kota Tua?
Technology to access Kota Tua, Pak Ilyas.
Technology.
What kind
Until now we don't have technology to that we built for the COVID like this, but we just try only for virtual tour like this, because only virtual tour, like a museum, historical museum, they made a virtual tour, the Kota Tua tour, because we have a big area like this, so we only have a virtual tour like this. But yeah, if you ask about the only virtual tour.
Maybe what kind of the technology that you need?
Technology that we need. Yeah, I already talked to you about it, right? About we need it's like the first about something that can account the visitor like this, and then there is a screen that can show us about the temperature of the visitor, and then how many visitors that enter like this. We only need it the first time, but after this maybe this application only.
Okay.
This application about the how many historical building in our area, that so they can access about the information, the historical building like this. So it's like virtual tour, but with the application. We need. So because here we only have two guides that can speak English. So if there is a visitor that asks us to accompany them to go around the area, Kota Tua area, like visit the tree museum and then go to Sunda Kelapa Harbor. So we need more. But when we have the application about the Kota Tua area, they can follow this application, and then they will get the information from this application like this. I think it's only two things, the technology that we need right now.
Okay, thank you. Akid, do you have any follow-up question?
Yes, I have a question. Samuel.
Okay, Samuel. Please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ilyas. Samuel, all the way from Nigeria. I want to say a wonderful good morning to everyone. Now, my question is, which parts of the museum is most attractive to people? That is the parts that people like to visit most in the museum. And the second question, that's like the first one, it's like, what are your plans, like the future plans you have keep in place for the museum to attract more visitors, the plans you have keep in place, maybe future plans or 2 years plan that you have keep in place to attract more visitors for the museum. Thank you.
Okay, Pak Ilyas.
So the more attractive, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they. So I think so many people still think that Kota Tua is a museum, right? But Kota Tua is a big area with so many museums inside. So we have 181 historical buildings. But for me, the best or the attractive things in the Kota Tua area that I think nobody found in the other place is Sunda Kelapa Harbor.
So the visitor thinks so? I mean, do you have
I
feedback?
I think the visitor wanna think that it's because it's still a traditional thing. But the difference, they don't use screens in their ship. On they already use a machine, but they still use a human to loading unloading baggage to enter the ship. Because I ever guide for Germany, they think that, oh my God, it's 500 years ago in my country. They already use machine for everything. But in the Sunda Kelapa Harbor, they still use a human for
Okay.
loading and unloading baggage. I think because we 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 often to speak that it is a living monument because still use a human like this. We have a traditional and we have a modern, like in the right side of the Sunda Kelapa Harbor. They use a machine to loading unloading baggage, but in the left side near Bahari Maritime Museum, they still use a human to loading unloading baggage like this. The
Okay.
attractive things when they visit.
How you plan to attract more visitors? That the following questions of Samuel.
Yeah, it is the difficult question for me, I think, because still COVID here, and we cannot make activities, outdoor activities, because our our something that makes so many people visit the Kota Tua is the event like weekend and others. So yeah, I think we wanna build or we wanna promote the other place. I mean the other zone of our tourism place, like Pecinan.
Okay.
Pecinan. Pecinan is a Chinese ethnic there, so many, but nobody knows. Not at all. They know that Kota Tua only Fathahillah Square, right? So we have to promote and make so many tour plan like this, or
Okay.
trip to visit the Chinatown and then maybe Sunda Kelapa Harbor like this. But it's a very difficult for me. What is the thing that can because until now the Fathahillah Square still closed.
Oh, still closed.
Yeah, still closed. Nobody can enter, but only someone who want to visit the museum and then a restaurant only that can enter this Kota Tua area like this. So we don't know to
Okay.
in advance what we wanna do, because we always make an event in the Fathahillah Square like this.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Our time is already up, and this is very interesting discussion. Thank you so much, Pak Dedi and Pak Ilyas, for
You're
your
welcome.
for your information and our discussion, and for students. And thank you so much that you've been listening and asking questions. And I hope this our discussion here and all the information that we give you through chat, and maybe you can also browse and search in internet about the Kota Tua in English more, give you some ideas. And I think there is a lot of things that we can develop to Kota Tua to help Kota Tua have more visitors, having more effective administration, management, and etc. And I think that will be very interesting and inspiring discussion for you to today until evening. Okay, thank you again, Pak Ilyas and Pak Dedi, for your help and for our discussion today. And we hope maybe next time we can have some program together, because State University of Jakarta is just in our neighborhood. Maybe we can talk to our colleagues from other faculty, especially faculty of language and culture, that maybe they can help administration in Kota Tua to develop the human resources. Okay, now students, we are going to break out the rooms. So you would be, maybe Alin or Sylvie can give you explanation about this. Ilyas and teams, Adedi and teams. If you want to leave the room, you will be pleased. Thank you so much.
Okay, guys, so wait for the breakout room. We still arrange and assign you to the 4 rooms, including the tour guide from Kota Tua, and then you will do the interview session. Don't forget to prepare your questions from your group.
Pak Ilyas still will be here, I think. Will be included in our discussion group ya, Pak Ilyas ya.
Jadi ada 4 orang kan ya Bu ya?
4 grup ya.
Iya, 4 grup. Maksudnya kalau misalnya emang satu grup butuh 1 narasumber, kita udah siapin 4 orang sih Bu.
Iya, begitu.
Tapi mohon maaf sebelumnya Pak Dedi ada meeting di Zoom yang lain, jadi tidak bisa juga.
Iya, nggak apa-apa. Yang lainnya nanti akan masuk ke dalam grup-grup. We have other speaker that will help you to develop more the ideas in each group. There is one speaker for you, but Pak Dedi will leave the room because he has something to participate. Okay, thank you so much, Pak Dedi. Okay. The break room has already, okay. Sylvia, okay.
Yeah. Just click join, guys. Hi, everyone. I think we can start the interview session right now. I will translate what is your question and what is the answer from the Kota Tua management. Go ahead. Who do you want to answer? Ask the question first.
Selamat pagi, saya Dewo dari perwakilan dari UPK Kota Tua akan berusaha menjawab seputar pertanyaan yang bisa kami jawab. Silakan kalau ada pertanyaan. Mudah-mudahan paparan yang tadi itu sudah cukup memberikan gambaran. Dan kalau ada pertanyaan, dipersilahkan.
Yes, I want to asking. Good morning, Pak Dewo.
Morning.
How do you keep your collection in a museum? In museum is having trouble because as now there are still visitors who don't comply with the regulation.
Jadi pertanyaannya Pak, gimana cara Bapak menjaga koleksi-koleksi di museum dan ada permasalahan atau tidak selama ini?
Saya jawab bahasa Indonesia aja ya Mbak ya.
Ya, nanti saya translate.
Jadi pertama kali saya harus menjelaskan dulu tentang unit kami, unit pengelola kawasan Kota Tua adalah dia hanya mengatur kawasan, baik itu perizinan, penataan, dan pengawasan dan kawasan dan sebagainya. Jadi kita tidak masuk ke area museum. Koleksi museum itu bagaimana tentang penyimpanannya dan atau preservasinya. Jadi kita tidak masuk ke area itu, Mbak. Gitu. Jadi kami ada lagi dia di bawah dinas kebudayaan untuk pertanyaan ini ya. Untuk area-area museum ini baik itu bagaimana penanganan koleksi, bagaimana mereka menjaga koleksi itu ke bagian museum masing-masing. Dan itu ada unit masing-masing, yaitu unit kalau di sini unit pengelola Museum Kesejarahan Jakarta, unit pengelola Museum Seni, Museum Kesenian Jakarta, dan Museum Kebaharian. Demikian.
Okay, so basically, I think museum and Kota Tua has different management. So Pak Dewo or Mr. Dewo cannot answer the problems inside the museum because it's different. I think you may ask question the general problems about the landscape or the problems inside the Kota Tua. Anyone else have another question?
I'm still thinking. Okay. Wait a minute. Actually, I have already delivered my question in the main session a few minutes ago. So I have some question here actually about the in Kota Tua we know that there is a lot of garbage dumped carelessly. So problem about garbage, how to find the solution is that Kota Tua have the solution before.
Okay. So Pak Dewo, jadi ada permasalahan mengenai sampah. Gimana caranya dari Kota Tua ini menemukan solusi atas permasalahan sampah ini yang ada di Kota Tua, gitu ya?
Oke, untuk terima kasih. Untuk pertama adalah permasalahan sampah. Itu kita unit pengelola kawasan Kota Tua mempunyai semacam satgas kebersihan lah ya, pasukan kebersihan di dalam subkawasan Taman Fathahillah. sebanyak 53 personil, 53 orang yang dibagi ke dalam 4 regu. Tugas mereka menjaga kebersihan kawasan Taman Fathahillah selama 24 jam. Kebanyakan sampah sebelum pandemi, sampah yang dihasilkan itu sebanyak sekitar 11 meter kubik. Penyapuannya itu dia diangkat setiap hari itu, kebanyakan itu rata-rata Jumat malam, Sabtu malam, dan Minggu malam. Itu volume sampah yang paling banyak. Dan pagi-pagi itu sekitar Sabtu pagi jam 6 itu diangkat, Minggu pagi jam 6 itu diangkat, dan Senin pagi jam 6 diangkat. Kebetulan untuk museum itu sangat sedikit, tidak buka untuk hari Senin. Itu untuk volume sampah. Dan pada saat pandemi kebetulan volume sampah jadi berkurang. Jadi itu untuk sampah. Kebijakan sampah di sini ada juga pemilahan sampah plastik dari awal untuk dipilah-pilah, dan kemudian ada bank sampah. Kita ada bank sampah di kecamatan, jadi bank sampah-sampah bekas botol air mineral itu dipisahkan, kemudian diserahkan kepada bank sampah di kecamatan. Kita juga punya kebijakan sekarang untuk mengurangi sampah plastik, yaitu membawa tumbler, membawa tempat minum sendiri. Kita sedang menggiatkan kegiatan tersebut. Pertama dari kami, dari karyawan-karyawan kami, yaitu diwajibkan untuk membawa tumbler untuk minum masing-masing. Kami juga akan mensosialisasikan kebijakan ini ke depan jika museum-museum, jika kawasan Taman Fathahillah juga nantinya akan dibuka untuk umum kembali. Demikian.
Okay, so the answer, Pak Dewo said that there is hygiene officer there to maintain the clean of the Kota Tua 24-hour, and then the volume of the garbage increased on Friday night and Saturday night. And because of the pandemic, the garbage is decreasing. Now there is some regulations about the garbage in Kota Tua. So Kota Tua have to collect the plastic garbage, and there is also a garbage bank in every region, so the mineral bottle will be collected there. Also, there is a regulation to reduce the plastic garbage. The Kota Tua management announced to all the people that visit the Kota Tua to bring their own tumbler for drink. That's all the answer.
So there is only cleaning keeper. I think create a robot will be better, but it is challenge and difficult enough in this pandemic outbreak. We don't meet offline so far, only through Zoom online.
Jadi kira-kira kalau membuat robot itu memungkinkan atau tidak, Pak? Karena kan sekarang masih menggunakan petugas kebersihan untuk mengatur kebersihan di Kota Tua.
Mungkin dalam waktu 5 tahun atau 10 tahun ke depan mungkin masih menggunakan manpower ya, tenaga manusia. Mungkin kalau sudah robotnya murah, dia bisa lebih menjaga supaya dia kan antivirus tuh robot tuh kan, tidak kenal sama virus kan, kecuali dari virus elektronik. Mungkin nanti ke depannya bisa lah itu diusahakan. Tapi tetap manpower itu tetap harus ada. Karena kita di sini memperdayakan juga warga-warga di sekitar kawasan Kota Tua.
Okay. So it is possible to make a robot, but should include the people around the Kota Tua. Still use the manpower. Okay. There any other question?
Hello, here is a question. Yeah, so good. I would say afternoon to their work.
Yes.
Would like to ask the question regarding what is the strategy of the management for the Kota Tua to attract the visitor back after this pandemic situation?
Okay. So Pak Dewo, jadi gimana strategi dari manajemen Kota Tua ini untuk menarik pengunjung agar datang ke Kota Tua setelah pandemi ini? Karena kan tadi Bapak bilang pada saat pandemi ini turun jumlah visitor pastikan karena ada penutupan juga. Gimana Pak caranya untuk menarik kembali?
Untuk masalah menarik sih kita sudah menarik pandemi menarik atraksi ya. Kita sudah menganggarkan, ini masih dalam pembahasan, 2021 itu sekitar 7 miliar lebih dana dari APBD untuk atraksi di tahun 2021. Tapi ini masih dalam pembahasan di DPRD ya, dengan DPRD. Itu kita ada jazz Kota Tua, kita juga ada weekend at Kota Tua, seperti yang tadi paparan tadi, kita juga nanti ada festival tempo dulu, kita ada, jadi kita akan berusaha dan mudah-mudahan pandemi ini tahun depan itu sudah bisa mengecil lah dampaknya, jadi kita sudah bisa membuka kembali wilayah Kota Tua ini secara penuh, tetapi tetap dengan menetapkan protokol kesehatan. Jadi demikian, kita sudah menyiapkan dari APBD, merencanakan anggaran sebesar 7 miliar, sekitar 7 miliar lebih untuk kegiatan atraksi di Kota Tua. Demikian.
Jadi membuat beberapa kegiatan gitu ya, Pak?
Ya.
So the strategy are they prepare around 7 billion budget for some activities like jazz of Kota Tua, making weekend Kota Tua, and then the festival, but still use the protocol, the health protocol, like that. So preparing some activities.
Understand. Therefore, would like to ask also regarding the health protocol. Actually, what is the standard procedures that will be running in Kota Tua? And is there any technology or any applications already found for the health screening protocol?
For the house cleaning? You mean?
Health screening. The screening kesehatan.
Oh, oke.
Ya.
Jadi prosedur dalam protokol kesehatan ini seperti apa Pak kira-kira? Udah ada aplikasi atau teknologi yang digunakan sebelumnya untuk protokol kesehatan ini atau belum ada rencana sama sekali Pak?
Kalau untuk rencana kita ada deteksi dini ya, program Jaki ya kalau nggak salah ya, program Jaki. Jadi ada men-trace orang-orang yang pernah datang itu dengan ada program Jaki namanya JAKI, Jakarta Kekini ya. Itu ada programnya. Kalau untuk standar seperti biasa, kita sudah siapkan juga cuci tangan, tempat-tempat juga sudah menerapkan physical distancing. Kemudian di sini juga dekat dengan fasilitas kesehatan. Jadi kalau misalnya pada saat di scanning dengan termogan itu ada yang terindikasi melebihi dari 37,8 derajat, itu nanti kita panggil dari pihak kesehatan untuk segera datang dan mengambil tindakan-tindakan sesuai dengan prosedur kesehatan. Demikian.
So for the standard procedure, I think they don't have any application or technology so far. They just trust the people that already come or the visitors. After that, use the standard like washing hand, physical distancing.
Maybe Andy can ask the next question.
Pardon?
No, Andy has a question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm gonna ask some personal question to Pak Ilyas. What is your role in the museum? What do you do? And are you motivated in doing your job?
Pardon?
What is your role in the...
Someone switch me in.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, please continue. Please continue.
Okay. So sorry for this inconvenience. Okay, I will continue. The standard procedure, I will repeat a little bit. So washing hand, physical distancing, and the Kota Tua itself is near the health facility. So if someone indicated of the virus after checked by the thermogun, they will be called and then come to get some maybe further checking like that. So there is no application or technology so far in Kota Tua. That's what I conclude.
All right.
Any question from the students? You already find problems and
yeah, we're talking about the health procedure, doctor.
Okay,
so some students already asked questions.
Okay, I see. Okay, good. May I ask some general questions? How long have you been working at the museum?
Sudah bekerja berapa lama, Pak Dewo?
Nah ini dia. Tadi kan berapa? Ya, jadi kita.
I see. What is the most attraction? I mean the must-see things in the museum that every visitor has to see.
Oh, kira-kira apa Pak yang harus kita lihat di Kota Tua itu selama Bapak bekerja ini paling menarik para pengunjung?
Pengunjung di Kota Tua itu dia mostly ya kebanyakan adalah dari pinggiran kota Jakarta. Jadi yang paling banyak dikunjungi adalah Museum Sejarah Jakarta. Itu paling banyak setiap weekend itu dia bisa hampir mencapai 10.000 dan pada hari besar itu sekitar 25.000 bisa sampai sebanyak itu. Mereka hanya melihat koleksi-koleksi yang di dalam furniture dan terutama juga mungkin bangunannya. Kalau di Museum Seni Jakarta itu dia bisa melihat artefak-artefak dari dalam laut yang diangkat. Kemudian juga ada koleksi lukisan itu di museum keramik. Nah, kalau di museum wayang itu ada wayang dari berbagai daerah dan berbagai daerah di Indonesia. Demikian.
Okay. So actually, most people want to see the Historical City Museum, Doctor. The visitors actually come from suburbs in Jakarta City, and they want to see the collection, furniture, and ancient things from Jakarta City. So they actually go to the art museum also to see the artifacts or paintings in there.
So what do you think that we can make it better and it will help the museum a lot in terms of enhancing the this attraction, make it better? Do you think anything or any way?
Jadi Pak Dewo, gimana caranya kita bisa meningkatkan ketertarikan para pengunjung ini untuk datang ke Kota Tua atau ke museum itu? Ada nggak pengembangan-pengembangan apa yang kira-kira bisa kita lakukan?
Kalau untuk museum, sepertinya sih mungkin tata pamer ya. Di sini ada museum tata pamer. Tata pamer, apa namanya ya? Exhibition. Jadi dia mengganti koleksi atau permainan penataan tata pamernya itu. Di sini ada, kalau mungkin ada yang sudah pernah ke Museum Bank Indonesia. Mungkin Mbak Silvi pernah ke Museum Bank Indonesia. Nah, itu kan dia tata pamernya sangat-sangat modern. Jadi mungkin penataan museum-museum yang di bawah Pemprov DKI itu bisa mengikuti tata pamer seperti Museum Bank Indonesia. Itu dia sangat bagus.
Jadi lebih modern gitu.
Iya, lebih ke modern. Itu untuk tata pamer di Museum Bank Indonesia. Tapi ini juga mungkin terkait juga dengan kendala pendanaan. Jadi kalau Museum Bank Indonesia kan dia ada dananya sangat besar. Kalau di bawah Pemprov DKI Jakarta itu harus dananya itu dibatasi untuk tata pamernya. Ya.
So jadi kita bisa bantu untuk tata ruang pamernya itu ya Pak menjadi lebih modern. Oh ya. Yeah. Okay. So what we can do, guys, Pak Dewo said that we can do some arrangement exhibition in the museum, like change the collection or making it modern style, like Bank of Indonesia Museum. Because in there are a lot of people want to see the modern style in the museum. It's the answer from Pak Dewo. Is there anything else to ask?
Would like to ask, just now, I think it's the last session, it mentioned that actually current Kota Tua management, they require something to head count a visitor. So I would like to know, is it the real thing that the Kota Tua authority needed? And what is the rationale they need to head count a visitor? Are they make use of the data or what is the purpose of head count of people? Yeah, thank you.
Oh, the purpose, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Jadi Pak Dewo, tadi kan saat pemaparan presentasi awal itu Pak Ilyas bilang kira-kira sekarang yang dibutuhkan adalah teknologi untuk menghitung pengunjung yang datang di Kota Tua karena sangat banyak yang datang dan sulit untuk dihitung. kira-kira apakah ini benar-benar sangat dibutuhkan di Kota Tua? Kemudian tujuannya apa penghitungan ini gitu?
Untuk yang alat hitung tadi ya, sebenarnya di tahun depan itu saya tambahin dikit sebelum ke situ tadi. Kami tambahkan bahwa di tahun depan itu kita juga sudah menganggarkan alat termometer untuk yang dia kayak scanner body scanner gitu, yang pakai kamera itu loh, yang kayak di stasiun-stasiun. Jadi orang hanya lewat, dia tidak pakai termogan lagi, dia langsung ada kamera dan alat monitornya. Itu juga kita sudah menganggarkan pengadaan untuk tahun 2021 untuk kawasan Kota Tua.
Pengunjung berarti itu ya Pak?
Iya, jadi pengunjung tidak itu lagi. Jadi dia hanya lewat berapa ketahuan kan. Jadi kita nggak pakai termogan lagi. Mudah-mudahan itu diapresiasi oleh pihak DPRD. Dan kita sudah menganggarkan itu untuk pengadaan 2021. Jumlahnya kenapa harus dihitung? Karena itu tadi kita menerapkan selama ini ya masih untuk mengatasi pandemi ini. Kita membatasi 50% dari kapasitas dari carrier capacity di kawasan Taman Fathahillah dan di museum-museum. Jadi gunanya kenapa? Pada saat sudah 50% nanti dibuka, 50% kita stop dulu. Tidak boleh lagi boleh masuk di kawasan Kota Tua. Gitu. Jadi kenapa untuk menghitung itu? Karena untuk menghitung 50% tadi yang kapasitas.
Oh, jadi sebenarnya kalau misal belum pandemi, penghitungan pengunjung ini belum dibutuhkan gitu ya Pak?
Dibutuhkan
lebih
juga
untuk pandemi.
Karena banyak juga yang tanya berapa sih kunjungan ke Taman Fathahillah, berapa sih kunjungan itu kita sebelum pandemi memakai checker.
Iya.
Nah itu kita dapat dari mana data itu? Dari checker tersebut. Dan itu adalah untuk data karena banyak mahasiswa S1, S2, S3 bertanya tentang berapa sih kunjungan ke sini, berapa sih kunjungan ke sini, seperti itu. Itu untuk bank data kita saja.
Oh, untuk main data, oke.
Iya. Dan nanti juga kalau misalnya Pak memakai elektronik, penghitungan yang tadi juga itu langsung bisa connect ke pusat data di Dinas Kominfotik kita. Jadi orang tidak, datanya tuh agak lebih valid lah. Berapa yang masuk pada jam sekian, berapa yang masuk, berapa yang keluar. Demikian.
Oke, terima kasih Pak. It's really needed to count the visitor because they want to know the valid data and they want to collect the data to the data center so they can make some like journal. There are time and then the amount of visitors, how many people come at that time, and they also make a budget for the body scanner in 2021. Because of the pandemic, they should limit the visitors. So they really need this application or technology to make or to limit the visitors, because only 50% capacity of people can enter the Kota Tua, like that.
I see. So here is an additional question. So regarding the Kota Tua, right? Is it a gated space? So the person, let's say I visit Kota Tua, is it that I just need to scan once to enter the Kota Tua and visit all the places or all the museum on the Kota Tua? Or actually there's also another plan, which is every places or every museum have is gated and we need to maybe we need to do the health screening every time? Yeah, how is the options?
Oke. Jadi Pak Dewo, tadi masalah screen wajah itu kira-kira cuma sekali atau setiap mau ke museum yang lain-lainnya juga ada screeningnya juga? Itu kira-kira pengolahan atau pengaturannya seperti apa, Pak?
Karena museum berada di kawasan kota tua dan museum juga belum tentu mengadakan termometer body tadi.
Di screen.
Jadi kita mungkin hanya sekali di tempat pada saat dia masuk ke kawasan saja.
Oh, oke.
Iya. Jadi pada saat masuk ke kawasan cuma di sekali itu aja.
Only once ya, Tan? Only once when they enter the Kota Tua, and then they can go to museum and etc. they want.
Oh, I see. How about the mobility of the visitor inside the Kota Tua? Do we need to, is it the authority from Kota Tua are looking for something to see where the visitor are located and where is the most populated places? Something like this?
Oke. Jadi Pak Dewo, kira-kira untuk mengatur mobilitas para pengunjung, entah dia mengunjungi mana yang lebih padat, mana yang kurang dikunjungi, itu ada nggak Pak? Untuk mobilitas. Itu ada pengaturannya sendiri.
Ya, gini. Jadi masing-masing museum, masing-masing pelaku usaha seperti kafe, resto, dan sebagainya, itu dia sudah menerapkan juga 50% dari kapasitas mereka. Kawasan kita itu dia carrier kapasitinya sekitar 5.000 untuk di taman saja ya, untuk di taman. Jadi mungkin kalau dia masuk ke taman itu mungkin dibatasi sampai sekitar 2.500. Nah, di kafe-kafe ini juga dia sudah menerapkan 50%. Di museum juga dia sudah menerapkan kebijakan 50% juga dari kapasitas mereka. Jadi pada saat angka tersebut sudah mencapai 2.500 yang masuk itu stop, dan yang di dalam dia masuk ke museum juga berapa kapasitas museumnya itu dari pihak museum yang akan menghitung. Berapa masuk ke restoran atau kafe itu juga pihak museum yang akan menghitung. Pihak resto dan kafe yang akan menghitung. Demikian.
Itu kan tapi selama pandemi ya Pak. Jadi sebelumnya apakah dibatasi seperti itu atau terserah pengunjung mau mengunjungi yang mana? Jadi misalnya dalam satu kota tua itu ada beberapa museum. Jadi museum yang satu mungkin lebih sering dikunjungi, sedangkan yang lain kurang dikunjungi. Itu kira-kira ada pembatasan nggak Pak? Biar rata pengunjungnya atau nggak ada regulasi seperti itu?
Kalau pembatasan pengunjung sebelum pandemi ya, itu tidak ada sama sekali. Jadi kalau di taman itu benar-benar penuh. Yang sering ada pembatasan pembatasan pengunjung itu adalah Museum Sejarah Jakarta. Pada saat libur Idul Fitri, libur tahun baru itu benar-benar dibatasi karena dia ada carrier capacity juga untuk di lantai 2. Tidak bisa sangat pengunjung penuh di lantai 2. Lantai 2 Museum Sejarah Jakarta ya. Nah itu. Jadi yang sering ada pembatasan adalah Museum Sejarah Jakarta. Itu juga dari pihak museum sendiri, dari pihak manajemen museum sendiri yang mengadakan pembatasan tersebut. Itu sebelum pandemi. Gitu. Jadi kalau untuk masuk ke kota tua sendiri itu tidak ada pembatasan. Demikian.
So Tan, there is no authority before the pandemic, like how many people should enter the museum, or the Kota Tua itself. But actually, there is only one that limit the visitors. It's called Historical Jakarta City Museum. When it is big holiday in the second floor, there people cannot enter. So many people cannot. There are, I think, the people is limited to enter the museum. And because of the pandemic, they limit the visitors to be 2,500 visitors in each place in Kota Tua, like museum, the restaurant, like that. There is no authority to track the mobility, etc. Is it answering your question?
Okay.
I think the time is limited because
I have question.
Okay.
Dewo, I have question how to handle thief when there are many visitors.
How to handle?
Yes, handle thief when there are many visitors.
Oh, thief. Oke. Pak Dewo, jadi kalau misalnya banyak pengunjung, gimana cara menghandle kriminalitas seperti pencuri dan lain sebagainya?
Pada saat sekarang atau sebelum nih? Sekarang aja gitu ya, masa.
Ya boleh.
Oke, masa sekarang ya. Kalau masa sekarang sih dia tingkat kriminalitasnya sangat rendah ya, karena masih tertutup. Tapi kalau sebelum pandemi itu kita punya satgas di dalam, satgas Kota Tua, bagian pengamanan. Itu sebanyak 100 untuk tahun ini, itu ada 100 personil dibagi ke dalam 4 regu. Satu regu itu ada 24 personil. Ada yang menjaga di pos 9 pos dan ada juga yang mobile. Pada hari-hari penuh sebelum pandemi itu kita juga ada mendatangkan personil TNI Polri untuk membackup menjaga keamanan dan kenyamanan pengunjung pada weekend yang sangat penuh lah, misalnya pada saat peak season dan libur-libur nasional seperti Idul Fitri dan Tahun Baru, terutama Idul Fitri dan Tahun Baru itu yang sangat-sangat penuh, bisa sampai padat sekali di Taman Fathahillah. Jadi kita ada personel, kita siapkan personil, yang mobile juga ada, kita minta bantuan TNI Polri juga, dan kita juga minta bantuan backup dari Pol PP dan pihak stakeholder yang lainnya. Demikian.
Okay, so there are some officers, like 100 security officers, and 24 personnel to handle the mobility of the visitors and the security there. Because of the pandemic, so it is decreasing the criminality. So it's easy to handle right now rather than the condition before. I think that time is up, so we should go to the main room. Terima kasih Pak Dewo. Thank you so much, Pak Dewo, for giving us the answers and do the interview sessions today. Terima kasih banyak, Pak.
Sama-sama. Mudah-mudahan bisa memuaskan.
Ya, terima kasih Pak Dewo. Thank you.
Terima kasih, Pak.
So hi again, everyone. I think that we are already here. So this is the last sessions of not actually today. We will have the session again in the afternoon at 3. But before that, actually, on behalf of the SAMS 21's organizer and students from 4 countries. We would like to thank the management team and the staff from Kota Tour and the one who managed the museum that provides the valuable information on the museum and the Kota Tours and the areas surrounded. And I hope that the student will get enough information in order to develop their own projects. And hopefully at the end, I think the student can share the project from what they have done until the end to the museum, so that the museum can use the how can I say, the project of the student. Anyway, thank you very much. And can everyone say thank you in their own language? For example, in Thai, ขอบคุณครับ. We're doing like that. Thank you very much. Yes.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Yes. And before we leave, actually, can we have an student saying some very short sentence to thank you, the team, the Kota Tour team from each country? I know that on behalf of Thai, because the Thai student, they have class now. Can you have from Indonesia and then from Malaysia?
You mean all the students or one?
Oh no, just the representative, one student.
Okay. Who's from the Indonesia and the Malaysia?
Can we have one?
And from Nigeria?
Okay, yeah, from Nigeria we have one, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
From Nigeria, please. Say on your own language. Say thank you on your own language, or little small sentence on your language to say thank you.
And translate for us. Yes.
Okay, it's funny a bit. That I will say it in my native language now. Mo fẹ́ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo àwọn tó kọ́ wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ láàárọ̀ yìí pé wọ́n ṣe púpọ̀. Ọlọ́run máa wà pẹ̀lú wọn. Àti kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ sí, àtúntì mọ̀ dáadáa sí. Ọlọ́run máa dúró ti àwọn náà. Now I want to translate now to us all. What I said in a bit is I appreciate everyone and our teachers, facilitators that explain much to us about the Kota Tour, and I pray for them that the Lord will be with their family and the Lord will be with them as well in all things they have laid their hands upon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very interesting language. Yeah, I'm interested in language. So from Indonesia or from Malaysia, if you can speak Indonesia or you can speak your ethnic, I think. Please, who want to talk? Say thank you with your own language. Whoever, please. From Malaysia, maybe. Who's from
Okay.
Hi. Hi,
Yes, please.
I'm from Malaysia, so I'm going to represent my friends in Malaysia to say a very much thank you. Terima kasih for all the organizer and the tour guide and everyone here for joining the section and make it more wonderful and meaningful. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you from Malaysia. From Indonesia, who wants to say thank you in Indonesia?
I am.
Okay, Andy.
Saya cuma mau ucapin terima kasih ke Pak Ilyas, ke Pak Aryo, ke Pak Dewo, ke Pak Arki, dan juga ke Pak Dede yang telah memberikan informasi di sesi interview kali ini. Semoga informasi yang kalian berikan bisa memberikan kita sebuah pacuan gitu untuk menyelesaikan masalah-masalah yang ada di Kota Tua sendiri. Ya. Terima kasih, Pak.
Translate, please.
Ya.
Translate, please.
I just want to say thank you to Pak Ilyas, Pak Aryo, Pak Dewo, Pak Arki, and also Pak Dede for giving us information. So maybe we can find a solve to solve the problem in Kota Tua. Thank you. ขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณครับ Okay. Thank you very much. And again, on behalf of the SAM's organizers, Susie and I, we actually Dr. Fausen and Dr. Yuli as well, and the team here would like to thank you, the Kota Tua management team and staff, for this really wonderful presentation at the beginning and opportunity for us to ask you the questions. And I hope this will be very valuable for the student to work on their project. So thank you very much. And then I would like to close the sessions in the morning. And thank you again. ขอบคุณครับ
We are going to
Thank
have
you.
photo session first.
Yes, please. One photo before we go.
On your video, because we are going to have photo sessions. And Sylvia or Aline will take photograph for us.
Okay. So if who are not showing your face, if possible, please. If not, it's okay. But if possible, please.
If possible, please open your. Okay, Sylvia, count, yeah.
Okay. 3. Wait. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Wait a minute. Once more. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Once again. 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Bye.
See you this
Thank you very
evening.
much.